So without further ado, Jed and Jackson, would like to come up.
Hi everyone, I'm Jed. I'm a senior here at St. Stephen's.
And hi, I'm Jackson. I'm also a senior here at St. Stephen's.
And this is CoastKeeper, the first ever AI-powered lawn care app. So just as a quick survey, show of hands, how many of you here have seen this before? Anybody? Yeah, most of us. We live in Florida, so this is red tide, which Jackson's going to tell us about now.
So obviously, as Jed said, this is red tide, and this is our main problem. While red tide is naturally occurring, we found that pesticides are the root cause of why red tide gets so bad in our area. And how pesticides end up in our waterways is when you put pesticides on your lawn, and let's say it rains, those pesticides go off in that runoff water into your drains, and through those drains eventually end up into the ocean. And so that's why red tide can get so bad due to pesticides. And so we created this app to help with that. Jed?
Yeah, so basically we came up with what we call Olibot right after Oliver, our mentor. So in our app, right, Olibot, so you take your phone and you have the app and you use the camera to scan your lawn. And what it will do is, right off the bat, it'll give you a grade, 1 to 100, on how healthy it is and also how aesthetically pleasing it is, how good it looks. So after that, you keep clicking through the tabs. We'll show you in just a second with the demo. And it'll show you sort of a week-by-week breakdown on what to do, how much your health grade will go up, and sort of a daily checklist on things to do to improve both your lawn's health and its aesthetics, all while using minimal pesticides to keep our oceans healthy. So here's an example of right out here in the St. Stephen's lawn. This is from an ant's point of view, so just imagine an ant crawling up the little blade of grass. And we're looking at Jackson, and using the app, right, it'll show you before and after. So after 8 weeks doing the things you need to do every day that the app will show you, this is what it'll look like. So as you can see, it looks way more cleaned up, less patchy, there's flowers everywhere, and it just overall looks a lot better, and all with minimal usage of pesticides. So now we're just going to show you a quick demo, give you an idea of how the app works. We designed this very logically, so we wanted it to be super easy for people to use. We don't want everyone to look like a grandparent tapping away, trying to find, where to go. So, Jackson.
All right, so first, this is our app, CoastKeeper. And usually you would take a picture of your lawn, but for this demo's purpose, we will just upload a photo of a lawn. And now the AI is analyzing it. It's the same photo as before. And then first off, it shows you your lawn health, 82%, right? But teachers, parents, 82% is just okay, right? We want to get that A range, right? We want 95 and above. Huh? And then after that, it gives you some just tips right off the bat. And then here's a before and after image. And yes, we know it's not the exact same, but we just wanted to show you how this app works and what this AI can do for your lawns. And then for our next tab, it's the Protect tab. And this is really just an educational page to let everyone know what pesticides can do to harm the environment, and what ways we can do to help the environment. And each one of these have drop downs that you can go through. And then for our next tab, we'll go to the Progress tab. And for this demonstration's purpose,
yeah, so I actually think this part's pretty cool. So, week 1, we don't have a very healthy lawn. It's kind of an embarrassment. We just kind of want to hide, go to other people's houses. Then, we get to week 2. It starts looking a little better. Maybe you let your kids play out on the lawn, whatever. Week 3, maybe you start having people over, that kind of thing. And then by week 4, we're hosting the cookout. Everyone wants to be at our house. We have the nice lawn. It looks nice. Everyone likes to be there. It's a good time. And then, below you can see each things you have for the week, and then it'll be broken up into days. So things that you'll do over the course of each day. And then at the bottom, if you do everything you need to do for a certain amount of days and weeks and months, and you get your health up, you get a little badge, which I think is kind of cool because I like games and stuff. So I think having a little badge aspect of it and a little bit of game sort of piece to it it makes it a lot more interesting to me.
Yeah, so we really just wanted to keep it simple to the point of maybe weeks 1 and 2, you can say, hey kids, why don't you go do this? And so we just really wanted to make it basically fun and interactive with each other, so you don't have to go, oh man, I have to go do lawn work again, where you're actually striving towards a goal.
Yep. So now, just back to the slideshow. Yeah, so we just wanted to, show one more example. So this is also right out here, more of like a bird's eye view. This is Jackson again. This is classic Florida dirt. We all see this. It's kind of sandy, patchy, doesn't look great. And if we use the AI and do the checklist every single day, this is what it'll end up looking like. So just like before, it's a lot better, looks a lot better, and it's healthier for the environment. So now, just a little bit more on the business side of things, we came up with a total addressable market of $4.8 billion. So, that's a lot of money. We're probably thinking, like, how did we get there? So basically what Jackson and I did was we took the total amount of homeowners in America, and then we shrunk that down to the total number of lawn owners, and then we shrunk that down again to the number of people in wealthier areas, because those are usually the people who, one, care enough about the environment to, improve their lawns, and two, have the means to actually do it. So we took that number of people, and then we multiplied it by our yearly cost. So we have a monthly subscription of $12 a month, and over the course of a year, that's obviously $60. So we multiplied that number of homeowners by that $60 to get $4.8 billion total addressable market. And down the road, another one of our ideas was partnerships with different brands. So if you're on the app, like Jackson showed us, right? People think, okay, if the app says, use better fertilizer, well, what does that mean? I don't really know. I don't know much about fertilizer. I don't know what the best kind of fertilizer is. So we were thinking, down the road, we would have maybe an Amazon link to the best fertilizer and a partnership with that brand. So whether it's lawn care tools, fertilizer, that sort of thing, that would be something we would look into down the road.
And so for our ask, we would be asking for $100,000, and we know this is a big number, but it would go to testing, further advancing our AI, and marketing, which would be those three big slices right there. But I'll let Jed take it away from here now.
Yeah, so that's a lot of money, right? Obviously, it's $100,000. But using AI, we can actually shrink this number way down to $20,000. So you're probably wondering, how did we get there? So there's a lot of little slices we made along with using Charles to help us. But the thing I thought was cool was the little 8% from before that we lost. That actually is privacy and policy terms, legal stuff, which we got rid of using something called, I don't know if any of you watch Suits out there, but Harvey AI, right? So just a lawyer in the show, and it'll do all this stuff you needed to do without spending thousands of dollars on legal work. So yeah, thank you so much for your time, and feel free to ask any questions, guys. Thank you.